Okay, in this Kahoot game, we've got to review composite functions, how we combine and compose functions with one another. This game was built a couple years ago, and it's also got some questions about factoring that we haven't quite covered yet. So I'll try to skip through those once we get to them. But there are a total of 16 questions here. It would be a good idea to have a separate sheet of paper set out so that you can write and record each of these problems as I talk through them. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, we have two functions, h of n and I believe g of n. Let's see what's happening on this website here. It's running a little bit slow right now. Okay, finally came through. All right, so h of n is this first function, negative 4n plus 4. G of n is the second function, 4n minus 5. 4n minus 5. We need to find h divided by g. Well, that shouldn't be too hard. Let me open up just a scrap piece of paper here. If h divided by g is what we're after, evaluated at n, well then that's simply the h function divided by the g function. So h in this case is negative 4n plus 4, and g of n is 4n minus 5. And I'd go with that as a final answer if nothing can be simplified, and it doesn't look like that it can. There is a common factor in the numerator, so we would factor that out if we could, but I don't think that that's something that we can actually eliminate in the denominator. So I'm going to look for an answer that has negative 4n plus 4 over 4n minus 5, and it looks to me like square is our choice. There we go. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, this time we've got an open circle. So this is the composite function that we practiced most recently in the second semester. I'm sorry, second quarter. G is our 4n plus 2. H is 3n minus 4. We've got to compose G with H in that order. So our outer function is G. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. 4 times something plus 2. And our inner function is h. So I'm going to write 3n minus 4 on the inside. And there's the composition. Let's go ahead and simplify. We can distribute the 4 in these two cases. This will turn into 12n minus 16. We've got a plus 2 hanging out on the outside. So I like 12n minus 14 as this answer. Let's see if we've got one. 12n minus 14. I believe we've got that here in triangle. Let me double check. Yep, 12n minus 14 is triangle. So I'll make that selection on my phone. And there we go. Okay, and moving on. This time we've got two functions that need to be subtracted with one another. G minus f. Well, the g function, let me get this out of the way here. The g function comes first, so we have 4n plus 3. The g function must subtract the f function, so 3n minus 1. And we should understand that combining these two binomials is done by combining like terms. So 4n plus 3 minus 3n plus 1. After we distribute, combine like terms. These two combine to make 1n, and these two, 3 plus 1, combines to make 4. So I like the answer n plus 4. And it looks like square is our choice for that, so I'll go ahead and select square on my phone. Now you may have noticed that each of these questions has a 2-minute time limit on it, 120 seconds, and that was done deliberately. I think 120 seconds is sufficient, or 2 minutes is sufficient for each of these examples. Let's take a look at this next one. We're going to add together two functions. Okay, we need to add g with f. So the function g is negative a plus 5. The f function is a squared minus 4a. So if we drop our parentheses, we see something like this, negative a plus 5 plus a squared minus 4a. There's nothing to combine with the a squared, so I'll record it first since it has the largest exponent. The negative a can combine with the negative 4a to make negative 5a. Takes care of those two terms. And then finally we have a plus 5 at the end that has nothing to combine with it. So I'm looking for a squared minus 5a plus 5, and that looks like circle to me. So I'll go ahead and choose circle. Okay, so we're on an answer streak here. We've got 4 in a row, and we're earning more than 1,000 points because we answered that one fairly quickly. Let's see what happens with the next. And I think there's a typo here, so I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with it. I'm going out on a limb here because I don't have the answer key in front of me, but I'm going to assume that we're looking to compose h with g at x. Now, I paused the video here and thought about it some more. I don't think it's going to be a composition. If I had to guess, this is actually going to be a division problem. H divided by g. We haven't seen any of those yet, so I'm guessing that's what we're going to see next. So if this was h divided by g evaluated at x, we would need the h function divided by the g function. So that would look something like this, 3x minus 4 divided by x squared plus x minus 1. And if we could simplify, we would. I don't believe that can be done here. So I'm going to go with an answer of 3x minus 4 over x squared plus x minus 1. And I believe we've got an answer here at square. So fingers crossed, let's see what happens. There we go. Okay, we lucked out. So sorry about that. That was a typo. If you're playing the game live with Mr. DeLong, hopefully you don't see that and mess up too bad. But definitely there was a typo here. This should be h divided by g at x. Okay, so in this case, I did get over 1,000 points, so that's good. We're shooting for 16,000 in this particular game. So let's see if we can continue to make that happen. Now in question number 6, we're multiplying the two together, h times g. So if we're going to multiply the function h times the function g, well, the h function is negative 3t squared plus 2. The g function is 3t plus 1, and these two need to multiply together. When multiplying two binomials, we have to FOIL. So the first multiplication is going to be negative 9 for negative 3 times 3, and t cubed is the result there, t squared times t. For the outside multiplication, negative 3t times 1 is negative 3t, squared. We have a squared symbol there. For the inside products, 2 times 3t is 6t. And for the last products, 2 times 1, we'll go ahead and call that 2. There are no like terms to combine, so I'm looking for an answer, negative 9t squared minus, negative 9t cubed minus 3t squared plus 6t plus 2, and it looks like triangle is what we're after here. So I'll make that selection now. And again, a good answer. So hopefully these methods are coming back to you. They're a review from what we've covered during the last semester. Let's see what happens this time when we do the same thing, evaluate a combination of functions, only this time we're going to do so at a single number. Now, if we're subtracting f minus g, then I need negative 4n plus 3 to subtract n squared minus 2n. So I'm going to start there without the numbers first. And we'll clear the parentheses. So negative 4n plus 3 minus n squared plus 2n. combine any like terms. Well, negative n squared has nothing to combine with, but negative 4n plus 2n is negative 2n. Those two do combine together, plus 3. And that would be a good answer if this was asking us for the result in terms of n, but we want this with the number negative 8. So negative 8 squared minus 2 times negative 8 plus 3. You can use a calculator if you'd like, or you can do this mental math. Negative 8 squared is 64. Retain this negative sign because it's being applied in the order of operations. Negative 2 times negative 8 is plus 16, plus 3. And so now we've got to think about this just a little bit, and I'll go ahead and cheat, and I'll pull up my calculator here because I'm on the clock. How about negative 64 plus 16 plus 3, and that looks like negative 45 to me. So negative 45 is the circle, and I'll go ahead and make that choice. Getting close to time there, but still did okay. Hopefully you're feeling the stress a little bit like I am, but still doing okay too. So that's our ultimate goal. Let's see this next one. What if we evaluate h minus g at the number negative 2? Okay, so h minus g at negative 2. Well, h is negative 3t minus 1. G is negative 2t plus 4. Now, some of you are going to get good at this and can probably subtract these without clearing the parentheses. You're going to see that negative 3t minus negative 2 is the same as negative 3t plus 2. And so that's negative t. Then you'll also recognize that negative 1 minus 4 is going to put you down to negative 5. So we've got negative t minus 5. That would be our terms had we simplified in terms of t, but this question is asking us to evaluate at negative 2. So we'll substitute negative 2 in place of t and perform the subtraction. This is 2 minus 5, which should be negative 3. Let's see if we can find negative 3 as a result. It looks like diamond is what we're after, so we'll make that selection, and it looks to be a good one. Again, I took a couple shortcuts there, but I still had plenty of time, so if you wanted to use a calculator or complete the work as you normally would, that would be just as fine as well. Here we've got a multiplication problem in front of us, so let's go ahead and multiply these two binomials. The function g is negative 2x minus 2. The function h is x squared minus 4. So if we FOIL these two together, we get negative 2x to the third power. Then we've got positive 8x for the outside, negative 2x squared for the inside, and positive 8 for the last terms. No like terms to combine, so we'll go ahead and substitute the number 3. 3 cubed plus 8 times 3 minus 2 times 3 squared plus 8. I'll probably need a calculator after this next step. We've got negative 2 times 27. That comes out to be 54. I know that from my times table, so I'll go ahead and include that. Just drop my pen here. See if we can get this back. 8 times 3 is 24, and 3 squared is 9, so we want negative 2 times 9. Well, 2 times 9 is 18, so we've got this result here. Just to make things quick, we'll enter negative 54 plus 24 minus 18 plus 8 is negative 40. So I'm looking for negative 40, and it looks like square is the choice. And there we go. All right, so let's see what comes up next. I realize the video is getting a little bit long, so I'm just going to skip this next one. I'm just going to make a choice and move on. Okay, bad choice there. Pause the video, go back and try that one on your own and see if you can get the answer of -108 as expected. I'm going to go ahead and skip this one too. It's again another problem just like the others, h divided by g. Again, pause the video, try this on your own and see if you can come up with a correct answer. I'm guessing red, triangle, that was no good. See if you can go back and do the work and get the result of blue diamond there. Okay, I'm trying to get a jump into some different styles of questions. These are all essentially the same. So I'm just going to keep moving ahead. Oh, that was a good guess. Lucky guess there. Okay, this is a factoring example that I said I would skip. Here's another factoring example that I'd like to skip for now. We'll pick up on these when I return. One more factoring example. I'm starting to wonder if all of these are going to be factoring at the end. Yeah, they sure are. Okay, well, sorry for the last couple minutes there of the video, not really applying to what we're discussing, but at least you'll be able to skip through that and not have to watch the video in its totality. I hope those first several examples did help. And again, if you're taking notes, if you're jotting them down by watching the video instead of playing this game in class, feel free to pause the video and resume playback. Just revisit this stuff to make sure that this type of work is familiar to you and that you're capable of completing these on your own. Thanks for watching.